Okay guys, so today I want to cover the absolute best of the best, cream of the crop, highest topping OCG White Forest deck list. I've handpicked two lists. One of them is a 5,000 player top 16 YCS Tokyo deck list, which is right here on screen right now. And I'll do this one actually second because I think this one is more interesting. And I'll do the other one first. I want to cover two things in this video. First of all, how has the OCG shifted in building White Forest since Alliance Insight came out? There actually have been some interesting changes. And secondly, what can we adapt from their deck list to us in the TCG, given that obviously they're two different formats. Okay, so let's first start with the slightly less interesting deck list. This was a 351 player event, also in Tokyo, a 3v3 where they placed second. So we're not going to be talking about the boring stuff like, oh, we don't have Appaloosa or, you know, Baron or Maxi, whatever, boring. So let's talk about stuff that's actually interesting. So they are still playing Simple Spoils of the White Forest and Woes of the White Forest. Let me tell you why this is interesting, okay? So here in the TCG, I just made a video on why Sinful Spoils of the White Forest allows you to play around Nib at any timing and in general is a really, really good way for you to learn how to sequence card effects in White Forest. If you want to learn that, watch my latest video. I promise you, you will not regret it. It's a good video. So this card I thought would maybe not be super necessary in Alliance Insight because of Diabels. Let me explain. This card, yes, it is a White Forest card. Yes, we can search it with our entire engine, but more importantly, this is entirely separable, basically a mini engine that works totally on its own, no matter what else you've done before. So, you know, if you've used your LZ and it got ashed, okay, you used your Azamina LZ and somehow they removed it. You can't ladder into your Diabel. You know, you don't have to have stuff to combine with Sylvie to go into RCL to then go into Diabel. You can't do that. But no matter what happens to any of those cards, as long as you have this card and you summon this card, you can... Bro, sorry, okay? Sorry, I'm not recording the video again. So as you can still get Adjudicator as long as you have this card. And Adjudicator, aside from just being a pop, will also allow you to ladder again using probably Mystic Mystery of the White Forest to go into Execute Dragon. So whether you search this or you hard draw it, you have a way to play around, like in a weird way, or play through rather, certain interactions just because no matter what happens, if all these names are used, they're all negated, this still works, this still works. So that's why this is so great and such a major upgrade to the deck and why I'm also surprised that people are still playing this card. If you're confused as to why I'm thinking of this as a way to like play through interactions, definitely watch that video. I'm not going into it in detail right now. But not only is everyone on this card in the highest topping deck list, they're also on Woes. And I say that for two reasons. Like I'm curious about this for two reasons. First of all, this is already your back row card for White Forest. So, you know, when you go second, your chance of drawing bricks like the Adjudicator, the Hallowed, the Sinful Spoils of the White Forest, the Woes, like that's actually not that great. You have a pretty good chance, like almost half the time you're going to see at least one brick. And, you know, maybe one in every few more games. I forget the math on this now. You might even see two bricks. And then you're playing at a super major disadvantage. So not only are they playing this back row card in the quick play, they're also playing not only a trap card, but it's specifically Woes and not Athace. A lot of these lists that I've seen, the highest placing ones, are specifically on Woes and not Athace. And you may be thinking, well, it's probably around Droll. No, but this doesn't even really play around Droll, because for this to play around Droll, you have to specifically have drawn Sylvie, not searched it. You have to blind search the Woes, not knowing if they have Droll. And if they don't have Droll, you have to have a way to continue playing. So you already have to have had your LZ, your Azamina LZ, your Tails or whatever, or some other way to complete your ladder. And then like if they do Droll you, like what? You're telling me that you played around Droll by setting Woes and passing on a Silvera? Like that's garbage. So yeah, I don't know why they're playing this, but I am curious, like if anyone knows why, my best guess is that they have decided that looping Azamina LZ, because in your standard combo, you always put this back into your deck, even when you're only playing one of them, that the target for Woes will be Azamina LZ, and getting the search off of this is probably the reason for Woes over Athace. So it's better for your resource loop than Athace is. That is my best guess. If you have any other ideas, please let me know in the comments. Okay, so other interesting thing to note here before I go on to my favorite list is that they are also only playing one Diabels. And I think this is probably going to be standard, but I do think that there's some argument, at least there's a gray area where you could consider playing three of this. And it's because, as I mentioned, this is a fully separable mini engine. If you were interrupted a bunch of times and you can't get to this and you end on, you know, just like a Diabel, that's trash. If you hard draw this card, it means that you effectively, in a weird way, are playing through more interactions because you like they can imperm you on everything while you're laddering into Diabel, but as long as you've drawn this, you're still going to get the Adjudicator. So Yeah, also if you're wondering why 3 Deception, that's because Ryzeal does not exist anymore in the OCG. In every relevant OCG metagame report, there's just no Ryzeal players anymore. So yeah. Okay, now let's go on to the list that I think is a lot more interesting, that has more takeaway for us here in the TCG. And the main reason that I say that is this card, Foolish Burial Goods. Now, this is really, really crucial for deck building theory, so pay attention if you're interested in deck building, okay? When you are thinking of what makes a deck good, you have to have cards that have high functional redundancy. That is to say, if you draw a combination of 2 cards, they should work together, and ideally, they work alone. They work alone, they work together. No matter what you draw, they still work in interesting ways. If you think of the Ryzeal cards, right? Like Ryzeal X is a crazy card. When you, let me bring X up. Okay. Ryzeal, when you play X, okay, you summon this card, you dump, it could be Aggregator, so this basically working as a breaker and also chain blocking itself because of searches, or if you're going first, you could dump Duo Drive if you want to play around Nib so that your Duo Drive has another Duo Drive to attach to it, so you still have a material when you activate Cross, okay? So you can play around Nib with that. You can dump Eclipse Twins, so you have like another layer on your detonator. So this card is excellent. This is a super high like ceiling card. It's super highly redundant, like functionally redundant, so that no matter what else you draw with this card, this is going to complement it or act on its own. So Foolish Burial Goods is kind of like the closest non-White Forest card that has high functional redundancy for us. Okay, so let me explain this. So X dumps Aggregator out to be a breaker, right? Okay, so we can dump Goat. If we're going second and you have some engine in your hand and you draw the Burial Goods, you can dump the Goat, and now you could call, for us in the TCG, you might call a Detonator, you might call a White Binder, whatever it is. So this is basically a totally, like usually impossible to interact with layer, where you can help break the opponent's board by dumping this. If you're going first, okay, other scenario, you have tons of engine in your hand and you've also drawn this, that's fine. You can still dump the Goat, and this is another layer that is just a part of your end board. So you wait until your opponent plays, even if you don't know what they're playing, and when you figure it out, then you Goat and you call whatever the name is. So whether you're going second or first and you're using Goat, this adds value no matter what you draw. Now, if you draw like no engine, or you've drawn a little engine and they've interacted with you, or you've gotten maybe your Diabell ladder, but you want a little bit more, you can just goods and dump Curse. And then Curse, when it is sent from the hand or deck to the graveyard, you get to add the Filius, and the Filius is what can either directly get you the Adjudicator, or it can get you the Diabells if you haven't already gone through it, which then gets you the Adjudicator. So this card is actually insane. It's actually insane. I probably would not, because I know a lot of people are thinking, why not play the, what was this card called again? The Metalphos Fusion, because if this card is in your graveyard, you can shuffle it into the deck and then draw a card. So a lot of people will be like, well, I want to play that with Burial Goods because if I already draw the stuff or have a way to get to the stuff I would normally dump, I need another option. But I don't think that's a good idea. I think that Curse and Goat together is like, you're not going to draw 2 1-ups and goods. If you draw goods and 2 1-ups, sorry, bro, you are not meant to win that game. Sorry. So that's not a reason to play Metalphos Fusion. Anyhow, so yeah, this card is actually crazy the more I think about it, and it's really enabled by Diabell's the White Witch and Adjudicator. Like, this would not be nearly as good right now. Like, this is not worth playing right now. But in Alliance Insight, I think this is an insane card that really helps us play through a lot of different things. Also, super niche thing I want to mention here. If you are afraid that your opponent is going to droll you and you are going second, you can Foolish Burial Goods, dump Curse, Curse add Filius, they droll. Now, because they control a monster, you can Filius, special summon Diabell's the White Witch, Diabell's the White Witch, dump Adjudicator, and now because you have a spell with Burial Goods and a trap with Curse in the Grave, you can special Diabell Star the Sin Adjudicator. So, you know, if you were playing into a board, and you're worried about drolls specifically, and this would work really well with stuff like Super Poly, Dark Ruler, whatever, Breakers, Book of Eclipse, whatever. You know, this interaction, setting up the Adjudicator stuff on board, works through droll, which is like pretty crazy, isn't it? So yeah. Anything else I want to say? Oh yeah, so Execute Dragon seems to be the Synchro 12 everyone has decided on. Like, no one's playing Centurion Legatia. Maybe it's because their extract space is a little bit tight because everyone has to play Baron. But yeah, what else? So this guy is playing Debtors, the other guy wasn't. I don't really like this card just because it's a little bit bricky in combination with a bunch of other ceiling cards that you have in the deck or other mandatory bricks like Hallowed Azamina. So I would prefer this in the side, but anyhow, this guy's playing it. He got top 60 in a 5,000 player event. Okay, so Guardian Chimera seems to still be good. So yeah, I am going to be testing out a TCG legal version of this deck. The only reason I haven't put out the profile yet is because we still have to get the official release of some stuff from Alliance Insight, and I don't want to be too preemptive, but I'm going to make that video very soon. If you want to see that, let me know in the comments below. Otherwise, I may focus on other stuff instead. If you want to join the Discord, I talk about this stuff all the time. I'm very active. You can @ me in the Discord. I'll respond to you. Thanks for watching. If you have any suggestions or you know anything else about why these people are playing these cards, please let me know. Thank you.